everybody. Karen Roby here for Tech Republic and ZDNet, talking today with Ari Trachtenberg. He's a professor of electrical and computer engineering at Boston University. Ari, first of all, of course, as we're talking to each other from our homes, thanks for being with us. It's good to talk to you today.
Likewise. Thank you for having me here.
So we're in obviously some really strange times here as we're all just kind of shuffling things around, trying to work from home and find a new norm here, Ari. And the work that you guys do there at Boston University is really interesting as you are coming together to find ways to use technology to track people that are sick here. And this is going to be really important as we move forward through this and try to get back to a new normal where we are interacting again and things like that. So just kind of start from the beginning from us, how this came about in your research and where you are with right now.
So this started with me staying at home and trying to figure out what we could possibly do to help with the COVID effort. And we realized that after we plateau and we manage to get COVID under control, we'll still need to be able to make sure that it doesn't start spreading again. And one way to do that is to make sure that we isolate people who are sick as quickly as possible and prevent them from exposing the rest of the community. And so we're thinking of how to do this. And the natural solution had to do with cell phones, which are always around us and have ways to communicate with each other at short ranges.
So, and that's obviously the big question, of course, Ari has is, everyone has Ari, is when we do, this isn't just going to go away. We can flatten the curve and we can certainly relieve some of that burden off of the hospitals, but it will still be a problem that we have to deal with. And they're trying to work on a vaccine for it. But in the meantime, as you said, when we do go back to normal, we'll need a way to track this. So talk a little bit about the technology and how, most importantly, it will not be an invasion of people's privacy.
That's exactly right. So we are very sensitive to the fact that we already have a lot of information out there on the digital, in the digital space, and we're worried about that potentially being misused for other purposes. Our approach just has an app on your phone that just sends out random messages, completely random, has no connection to your information, your location, your name, anything. And those random chirps, they're called, can be used to then identify later whether you were around someone who ended up being sick. In that person, when they get sick, will report their own random numbers that they have submitted, that they have sent. And those random numbers, when I look and correlate them with random numbers that I've heard in my area, will tell me maybe I need to go get a test.
And so from there, Ari, how will you guys, what will be the next step in terms, once you've compiled that information, how does it then move down the line so that people will know what to do?
Right. So the idea is when you get sick, you go to your doctor or to get a test, let's say. If the test comes back positive, then you will, on your own, give the doctor all the numbers that you have been broadcasting around as you've been walking with your phone. The doctor will upload those to a central registry, and everyone else who's walking around will then look at the registry and see whether they heard your numbers anywhere. And if they did, they know that they might be sick and they need to go get a test. And then this process perpetuates itself. They go get a test. If they end up being positive, that goes up to the registry, etc.
And talk a little bit about here, Ari, in terms of the work that you do on a daily basis, say pre-COVID-19, how that work has kind of, parlayed into what you're focusing on now. We're all having to pivot a little bit here, but for you guys, really, it could be, incredibly helpful for people in general.
So yes, in my day job, I work in cybersecurity, in the security realm. And in fact, this is a slight tweak of an existing attack. So I work on attacks and defenses, ways that malicious entities try to identify your location. And so we, aware of that, tried to design a system that was resistant to that. so that you cannot be tracked, so that it cannot be determined where you are. And I want to stress that the location information that you have on your phone, where you are at all times, is extremely personal information. It says things like where you slept last night, what kind of medical conditions you're being treated for, depending on where you go, who your friends are, what your political and religious interests are. This is very, very deeply personal information that needs to be guarded. And we believe that this solution provides you the opportunity to protect your privacy while also sharing in helping others and yourself not get this disease.
Very good. And Ari, you guys talk a little bit about, your team and who you are collaborating with in this effort.
Excellent. So the original work was a collaboration with Professor Ran Canetti in computer science and Professor Mayank Varia, also in computer science, also part of the Hariri Institute and part of the Risk Center. This was a BU effort. We reached out to various other colleagues at BU. In fact, we initially discussed it with them, and now we're actually part of a greater initiative that's connected to MIT and a variety of, it's led by MIT, but connected to a variety of other institutions. All of us working together, trying to get this implemented as fast as possible.
Yeah, most definitely. And collaboration, I think, is key on, many fronts, bringing people together here with their knowledge to see what we can do to make a difference. Before we jump off here, Ari, let me ask you, because your background is so focused in cybersecurity. Unfortunately, of course, we're vulnerable at a time like this. And as companies are scrambling to get their employees set up to work from home, security really needs to be top of mind when it comes to having people working from home and in different situations. How concerned are you about cybersecurity in general with this new setup that we're all being forced, to deal with?
So I am very concerned with cybersecurity. Generally, malicious attackers look for situations like this where there's widespread confusion and rules and regulations get to be broken or bent for the greater good. I'm also concerned with mission creep, and in the sense that it's at times like this when we expect our governments to go through extreme measures to protect us, but those extreme measures sometimes linger on even after the extreme situation has gone away. And so I think it's important to be aware of that upfront while designing a system like this, to think about, making sure that it cannot be taken advantage of later on down the line, not necessarily by government, even by other people who just see an opportunity.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems criminals will certainly thrive when things are chaotic for the rest of us. It's an unfortunate situation. Well, Ari, we certainly appreciate you being here with us today, and we'd love to follow up with you again on your work to see how things are going as we move down the line. And we wish you the best of luck too in your work and hopefully helping everybody with this.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. Much more on this coverage, you guys, can be found, of course, on Tech Republic and ZDNet. We hope you'll check it out. Thanks so much for watching.